Well, so this subject came up on MSNBC yesterday when Andrea Mitchell, NBC News in Washington, and she had as her guest Sean Duffy, a Republican member of Congress from Wisconsin. And we're breaching our ban on what happens on MSNBC. Basically, that's mostly a primetime ban, but well, it was prime time that inspired the ban, and then the ban was just extended to the whole network. And I have not lifted the ban. Oh, I'm going to tell you what. Let me tell you something. The reason why I stopped. Why publicize that crap? They've got some host. I got to be real careful here. I want you to know that I'm employing fabulous discipline right now. They've got... Anyway, they have people that are now openly blaming the Constitution for what's happening. And the Constitution's a problem. The fact that the Constitution limits Obama from just fixing this stuff. I mean, it's really dangerous stuff. I mean, these are just, they're pure ignorant. Some of the most arrogant, condescending smart alecks, but they're just pure ignorant. And they fit the bill of people who have no love and no respect for the founding of this country. And they believe in total centralized power. They believe in dictatorial power by the president when he is one of them. And they got their wringing their hands over the fact that the Constitution is the problem here. The only reason we're in this mess is our damn Constitution. And why air this crap? Why? It's not even worth any entertainment value anymore. So I instituted the ban. And I'm going to tell you, folks, I don't normally take credit for things, and I don't know that in this case justified. But the moment we instituted that ban, their numbers just plummeted, and they're in the cellar asterisks in many cases. So it worked in that sense. I mean, why? You people would never watch that network, so why should I play stuff on it for you that amplifies what happens there? I mean, you don't need to hear it to know what liberals think. And I just decided, why should I turn over portions of this program to those nutcases, even if it is just to laugh at them? Because after a while, it wasn't even funny. It was just really frustrating. So the ban's been in place for well over a year, maybe longer than that. But something happened yesterday with Andrea Mitchell that we're going to lift the ban. It's this Wisconsin Republican, Sean Duffy, guested with Andrea Mitchell. And it starts this way. She said, why not sit down and negotiate over entitlement reform, which is something that you all have been demanding, and that Obama's offered in his initial budget. I mean, you're putting on the table a non-negotiable demand, meaning the defunding of Obamacare.
The media won't even ask the question about why are you treating families different than big businesses. You need Jon Stewart on Comedy Central to ask Secretary Sebelius, hey, why won't you treat these two equally? And she can't answer it. I mean, that's how pathetic I think news reporting has become when we won't ask tough questions to the administration.
Well, we've asked questions to both sides. That's not fair.
Do you ask that question, Andrea?
We have asked that question.
I have asked that question. Really? Well, nobody heard it. Nobody heard it. Duffy then said, why do you want your own health care and you won't join us in Obamacare? That's a question I haven't seen anybody ask on MSNBC. Please ask it, because they don't have a good answer for it. Why do you want your own health care and you won't join us in Obamacare? He's members of Congress. Why are all these people asking out of it? Is his point. He says, I haven't seen anybody on MSNBC ask that question.
The response that Kathleen Sebelius gave to Jon Stewart was, if we had gotten what we wanted, which was a single-payer plan, this wouldn't be the problem.
That's right. You say, I think this is what they would say, but you don't know what they would say because you haven't asked. And that's one of the problems we have here.
Okay, so he's going right for her heart. I mean, she prides herself on being the dean of journalistas. And he's telling her that you're not doing your job. You're not asking these people any questions. You're not asking tough questions of the regime. or of Obama. So she said, do you consider it a small ask that he get rid of the central part of his health care plan that was upheld by the vote, a presidential election, and the U.S. Supreme Court? So she wants to know, what do you think you're doing? Don't you consider it a big deal? You're asking him to give up his signature item?
Hold on, that's your spin. The president gave a one-year exemption he gave a one-year exemption for businesses in regard to taxes and penalties in Obamacare. We've said for the individuals, for the families, if they want to go into Obamacare, they can. But if they don't, for 1 year, don't tax them or penalize them, just like the way you're treating big businesses. That is fair under the law. That's all we've asked for. Why won't he join us in Obamacare? Why wasn't Michelle Obama on October 1st at the computer with her family signing up for Obamacare? Or Jay Carney? They have their own gold-plated health care plan that they're in, and they don't. No, I'm not. I'm in Obamacare. I'm in Obamacare, Andrea. All members of Congress are in my family. The president should join us in Obamacare and the rest of America. Is that pretty reasonable? We should all be treated equally under the law?
Now, see, his point here is that he's changed the law, Andrea. He's just willy-nilly choosing when and what to implement and not implement. And we're simply saying that the thing that is happening now is not what was signed into law. The way this plan is unfolding is not what he signed. There were not waivers of 1 year for 2,500 unions and so. There were not waivers of 1 year for business on the employer mandate. There weren't any of these excuses granted or extensions granted to people to not participate. So, and you're not asking about that. You're just simply accepting that Obamacare is what he signed into law, and it isn't. He is extra-constitutionally changing it, and you're not even asking about that. His point is, why do you constantly circle the wagons and protect this guy instead of taking a look at what's really happening and ask somebody at the White House about it? And then this is the way the exchange ended, and it was, I think, kind of interesting because it ends up with him playing journalist and her being either the, however you want to call it, victim or the suspect, which is what a guest is on TV, that you're a suspect, not a guest. And this is how the final exchange ended out there.
Can you defend why the president shouldn't be in Obamacare like members of Congress and their staffs?
I can't defend why the Congress and the White House cannot figure out a way to reopen the government so that our kids and their families can get the benefits that they have been.
And I told you we're going to do that this week. We're just saying treat individuals and families like big business and have Obama go into Obamacare. That's it. No one's asked that question but Jon Stewart. I think the media should start doing its job.
Thanks for your advice. Thank you, Congressman.
Yeah, thank you. So it is interesting in a sense. You see what concerns. Open the government so people get their benefits. Open the government so people get their. Everybody's getting their benefits, Andrea. It's only 17% shut down. Illegals get the use of the park, the National Mall. All of Obama's buddies are getting their checks. All of Obama's political friends are getting whatever they want during this shutdown. The only people being denied things during the shutdown are Obama's political enemies. Now, Piers Morgan, on Piers Morgan Live, shows eponymous. You know what that means? It means it's named after him. If you have an eponymous show, I mean, it's named after you. Like the Rush Limbaugh program is an eponymous show. And so Piers Morgan has an eponymous show, Piers Morgan Tonight. Of course, tonight's not his name, but it might be if he keeps up. He's a little worried. He thinks what happened on the Jon Stewart show is significant. This is what he said.
Jon Stewart taking some shots at Secretary Kathleen Sebelius. I could barely believe what I was watching. It was like the person in charge of this didn't seem to have a clue about almost any of it. It was embarrassing to watch. And I've nothing against Kathleen Sebelius. I've met her once. She seemed a very nice lady. But I was squirming watching this.
You know, what did it tell you, though, Piers? You think she doesn't know what she's talking about. So what does that mean, you think? It means you think these people are infallible. You think these people are simply experts and never lie because they're on your side and they're fellow liberals. And then you see raging lying or incompetence or whatever, and it doesn't compute, and you get nervous. So Piers Morgan, for the first time, has something about this questioned, He's never questioned it. He hears Stewart ask a question, but he sees somebody in the regime lie, and he is scared. He can't believe what he was watching. The lack of curiosity of some of these people is just astounding to me. They call themselves journalists, and they're nowhere near it. They're blind followers. And now it's not happening the way they all thought. They thought it was going to be the best thing since sliced bread. They really did it. Now it's an absolute debacle and joke, and their confidence is shaken. Even Charlie Rose, this is last night on PBS, he's talking to Mark Landler of the New York Times. Just a short little bite here.
Is the president on firm ground when he says, I'm not going to negotiate? Is he on firm ground in making that argument?
Well, I would say that ultimately he's the guarantor of the nation's creditworthiness. So I think it's a difficult argument to say that I'm not going to negotiate.
So the Charlie Rose shows a little bit of panic, too. And I got to take a break. There's more to this, too. But sit tight. Coming right back.